Known to racing aficionados and car buffs alike simply as Monza, the Autódromo Nazionale Monza is among the most fabled motor sports racing circuits in all the world. Constructed in Monza's Royal Villa Park in the early 1920s, the circuit has hosted the Italian Grand Prix Formula One race every year but one since the series' inception, and holds the record for the fastest and closest finish in Formula One history in 2003 and 1971, respectively. While its storied history and proximity to Ferrari's headquarters in Maranello makes Monza the unchallenged home of the Italian Formula One racing, the facility has played host to virtually every form of motorsports over the years, from sports prototypes, GTs, touring cars, to MotoGP and superbikes. Monza even hosted the legendary race of two worlds in 1957 and 1958, which pitted Indianapolis-style race cars against Formula One cars. Thus, the breadth of Monza's roll call winners is unparalleled, from Tuzio Nuvolari and Amito Ruggeri to Juan Manuel Fangio, Jimmy Bryan, John Surtees, Michael Schumacher, and Sebastian Vettel, who earned their first F1 win of his career in the 2008 Italian Grand Prix. Lots of history around this place. Tonight we're going to make some more with the LSR Sports Car Series, and it's coming up next on HBR TV. Once again, everyone, welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from, to, well, I'm going to call it Monza, just because I don't speak Italian all that well. So we'll stick to the English and the short versions of it. We're in round number 4 here in the LSR Sports Car Series. And it's a series of not Daytona prototypes. I have a tendency to call them that. It's a habit that's hard to break. Need a swear jar for that. But LMP2 category and GT3 machine. So we'll certainly see what they have in store for us tonight. Qualifying is already underway. About 2.5 minutes in of this 10-minute session. Not an open qualifying like we do in some of these sports car series, but we are running a 2-lap qualifying session. So let's get down and see where everybody's running currently. Again, we're about 3 minutes into the session. So far, no one has crossed the timing marks to lock in their first lap. James Vance was the quickest prototype in practice. In fact, let's take a look at that. Interesting. That's better. James Vance, 1:36.302 in the 1-hour practice prior to the event. Kyle Surratt, Matt Brewer, the top 5. Andrew Locke, Tyson Pankow. Vance's first lap, a 36.990. That's 1 minute, 36 seconds, .990. Vance rolling through Variante Ascari right now. He can head down into the Parabolica, the final turn of his second lap. See if Vance can improve here. Vance across the line, picks up about 3 1/3 tenths, a 1 minute 36.636. Currently top time is James Vance, the number 10, the Canadian. See if we can track down Mark Thomas. His first lap, a minute 48.743. Second lap, minute 48.234, 11th overall is Mark Thomas, currently the fastest GT3 machine out on the racetrack. Chris Goins, second lap, minute 38.685, good enough for 10th fast so far. Sean Roberts in the number 33, again, LMP2 machine. He's shown a lot of pace in the first 3 races of the season. He's just been struck down with a lot of bad luck. Luck could turn his way a little bit more in this season. He'd probably be having a pretty good points advantage so far, but not to be the case. We'll see if he can turn that around here at Monza. Sean had a pretty good lap 1, a minute 36.825. It's actually a little bit faster than James Vance's first lap. Vance has slipped now to the 4th position. Andrew Locke now top of the board. It's minute 36.757. Just under a minute remains in the session. Now we go to Zach Millett in the Mercedes. Lap 2 for Millett at minute 49.484. It's going to put him 3rd fast in the GT category. This qualifying does come to a close. Gives us an opportunity here to get to our starting grid here in the LSR Sports Car Series. Round number 4 from Monza. On the pole position, it is the 20 of Andrew Locke. 'Tis outside the 93 of Matt Sisoler. Row number 2, Matt Brewer in the 11 and James Vance in the 10. Fifth starting position, Sean Roberts. Sixth goes to Tyson Pankow. Seventh, Nathan Deering. Eighth is Garrett Hagen. Ninth goes to Nigel Stock. 10th position, Dave Tamira, fresh off his first Superior Class Auto Racing Radical win at Indianapolis last night. Going to try and do one here as well. Starting 11th, Kevin Blue in the number 54. Justin Gledhill will roll off from the 12th starting position. 13th position goes to Cody Anderson, with Chris Gones starting in the 14th spot. 15th, Joe Tucker in the 7 with William Brennan 16th. 17th, Kyle Moyer. Kyle Surratt is 18th. 19th will go to Jesse Redding. Austin Delgado will start 20th. Mark Thomas, 21st. 22nd, Brack Crouch. 23rd, overall, Zach Millett. 24th, Chris Pio. 25th, P.M. Beagle. 26th, Andy Spicer. 27th, Bill Mulfeld. 28th goes to Britt Osborne. Frank Barberi, the 27, will start 29th. 30th goes to Floyd Kerr. And last but not least, it's the 2 of Bill Martin starting 31st on the field. We do show Pat Hingston at the tail of the field. Again, he is serving a race wins penalty. EOL, and I believe a drive-through to start the race. So that's going to be quite the deficit to overcome, but it might work out in his favor depending on how this initial start goes. Having some issues here with the timing tower. It's not differentiating any differences between the LMP2 category and GT3. It was working fine prior to this. All of a sudden, it wants to act up as per the norm. We'll see if we can get it straightened out here before we get too deep into this race, but we're just going to have to wing it in the meantime. Short parade lap here. Field working the Parabolica already. Pace car about ready to peel off the track. We're going to go under the green flag here just momentarily. Green flag ways are underway. Round number 4 from Monza. The chicane for the first time. Does everybody make it through cleanly? Had a couple of bailout, a couple around in there as well. Now we get to the GT category. Mark Thomas with a big jump already. He's going to get through the Variante chicane without an issue, all by his lonesome. Pretty strung out in the GT field already. A bunch of guys possibly not paying attention. Maybe they went single file, hard to say, but Mark Thomas certainly not going to complain about it, with a big advantage, 3.5 seconds back to the Ferrari of Chris Pio. Out front, Andrew Locke from the pole position continues to lead. Matt Brewer not too far behind, maybe 2-3 car lengths as they get through Ascari. Everybody relatively careful here, passively aggressive. Minding their P's and Q's here, trying to get some heat into the tires. Again, these cars, not like your typical oval Goodyear Racing Eagles Michelins on these race cars. They take a little while to get some heat into them. They really don't come to life until after 2, 3, sometimes 4 laps, depending on track temperature. They're not very helpful, not very agreeable to the driver's inputs and outputs until they get warmed up. At this point in the race, everybody kind of just tiptoeing around. You don't want to push them too hard. You don't want to hurt the tire. But it's certainly no time to push until you get them nice and warm. Andrew Locke still out in front over Matt Brewer. James Vance runs in the 3rd position. Again, this is the LMP2 category. Back in GT3, Mark Thomas still with the lead. Chris Pio, PM Beagle in the top. That's the top 3. Then you got Floyd Kerr, Andy Spicer. That's the top 5. Further back in the field, though, Austin Delgado, Jesse Redding, William Brennan. All in the session, but not in the race. So keep that in mind. They will be classified as participants, but not starting. Looks like recently Bill Martin might have had an incident on track. The Ferrari in trouble. He's getting into the chicane. Real slow entry. Just gets crossed up, gets it into the gravel, sends it into the Armco barrier. Lucky not to collect any other cars. It was certainly a close call. Bill Martin is having all sorts of trouble trying to get back out of that gravel pit and turned around. Looking out the backside of the LMP2 of Andrew Locke, starting to put some distance between himself and Matt Brewer, 1.9 seconds. Second place getting smaller and smaller in the camera view. And good news, it looks like I fixed the issue with the timing tower. Now you see on the left-hand side, the yellow indicates LMP2, the blue indicates GT3. The flashing red occasionally you'll see there will indicate an off-track or a crash involved with that particular driver. Instead of it being blue or yellow, it'll flash back and forth with a little bit of red. We did see, looks like Bill Martin had another issue on track, potentially. So that was the driver that was flashing at the time. Andrew Locke already encountering some lapped GT traffic. Tucked in behind the Porsche. This is going to cost him here through Ascari. That Brewer is closed in about half a second in the rearview mirror now. It was almost 2 seconds just a lap or two ago. Vance up to P3. He's up one spot from where we started tonight. three under a blanket here, awfully close together. Second place, Matt Brewer closing in on Andrew Locke. Andrew Locke's last lap, a minute 39.13, certainly off the pace from his fastest of the day. Fastest lap was a minute 37.2. Matt Brewer's fastest, a minute 37.48. That was actually his last lap, was his fastest lap. So Brewer picking up the pace, certainly working with some of the slipstream that Andrew Locke is providing. Does help you catch the guy in front, but doesn't necessarily help you maintain the position. In fact, you make that pass, and then all of a sudden the guy behind you has that slipstream. Looks like Pat Hingston is short pitting. I don't know if he was involved in an incident or not. No damage on that machine, so he's down pit lane here. This is his drive-through penalty. This is actually not a scheduled stop. This is part of his win penalty. He's got 2 wins on the season. Daytona being one, Watkins Glen being the other. Back in GT3, though, we do have Mark Thomas currently leading here at Monza. Pretty comfortable advantage over the second place running Lamborghini of Floyd Kerr. It's 4.1 seconds in the rearview mirror for Mark Thomas. Mark's just got to run some clean laps. A good consistent race here. Certainly do him some good. Had a podium, I think, last week at Watkins Glen. Finished P2. Maybe that was Long Beach. Now I'm getting them confused. Either way, Mark Thomas, certainly no slouch here in the sports cars, especially in this Mercedes. Matt Brewer has taken over the top spot. He goes P1. Andrew Locke now slips to second. You gotta wonder if this is a product of lap traffic. There's a bunch of GT cars mixed into this. Now we have teammates Andrew Locke and James Vance running 2 and 3. I would imagine these two are going to work together, use the draft, maybe switch things up, try to save some fuel. Get some extra laps on that tank. We can go a little bit further before having to worry about the pit stops. Maybe make a shorter pit stop when the time comes. LMP2s mixed in with the GT category. Kingston to the outside, a little contact with the other Mercedes. There's also a LMP2, the number 30, going to the outside. Trick to getting around here, especially in an LMP2 in a multi-class series, is trying to time where you catch the slower traffic. If you catch them in the dead center of the corner, you got to go the long way around, so that's difficult. Sometimes you got to reduce your speed significantly more than you typically would. Comes Sean Roberts up the tail end here of Pat Hingston. Hingston goes wide into the gravel. Roberts going to go on the driver's right down the straightaway. So you approach Ascari another time. 11 minutes into this 1-hour event. Matt Brewer, currently your leader, started third. He's up 2 spots. James Vance now gets by Andrew Locke. Vance now running in the second spot. Again, you got to wonder how much of this is team orders or just teamwork. So Andrew had the pole position, some faster times. Wasn't really the case in practice. Vance was awfully quick, where Andrew Locke was, I think, 3rd or 4th fast. Big-time drafting going down the front straightaway here as they get down into Prima. First chicane here, James Vance, P2, Andrew Locke, P3. Back in the 4th position, Matt Sissoler, the number 93. Oh, we got big trouble back. Nate Deering involved in this one, it looks like. This is getting into the second chicane. Ooh, the 19 just loses the rear of the car. It's up on the nose. Garrett Hagen. And the agony begins as he tries to get out of the way here, get that thing righted and back in the race. Justin Gledhill in the pit lane. Major damage on that machine. We didn't see exactly what happened there. In fact, let's go take a look at it. We do have a replay here. There's laps to go. Looks like damage might have already been done at that point. Puts it off in the gravel. Oh, and just hard impact to the inside wall. Lucky to have some Tech Pro barrier there. Wasn't always the case. That used to be solid Armco. Doesn't look like that was even all the damage. There might have been another one there. Oh, that was the same one. Lengthy repairs for Gledhill. Matt Brewer still out front. Last lap, a minute 38.51. A little more fall off we're seeing here. Typically, you'll see these guys, they'll run laps, the tires will get warmed up, and as they go on, the fuel load gets a little bit lighter. Lap times will usually come down. I don't know if we're dealing with a little hotter temperatures here today or what the case is, but a little bit slower than we started. Brewer's fastest lap, a minute 36.96. His last lap, a minute 38.51. And that's while maintaining the top spot. But for how long? Because James Vance is coming in a hurry, makes a move here, picks up the slipstream. He's to his outside, entering the chicane. Is he going to make it work? He is. Clean pass on the outside, entering the first chicane. James Vance goes P1. Matt Brewer now back to P2. He's now the meat in the sandwich between James Vance and Andrew Locke, teammates. Close battle up front. These are the top 3 overall, the LMP2 category. Vance, Brewer, Locke. 15 minutes in. We're going to go side by side, get a quick break out of the way, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Monza. Been watching a battle between teammates James Vance and Andrew Locke as Matt Brewer decided to hit the pit lane instead of doing battle. All part of the strategy. See how things play out here. Matt Brewer still in the pits, however. This battle up front between Vance and Locke, hot and heavy. We're going to stay with it. They continue to exchange positions, first to second, first to second. Right now, Vance with a nose out in front. It's a possibility we might have just missed it here as soon as we went to break. Matt Brewer had an off track. Let's see if we can get a look at it here. Don't want to interrupt this battle for P1, but let's do it real quick, see what we can see here. Exactly what happened while he battled with James Vance. This is through the parabolica. Oh, actually hard impact. Was way more than just an off track. Let's try and get a look at this one again. Oh, contact was made. Not sure if the 11 turned in and made contact, but nevertheless lost all the downforce after making contact, sent him into that Tech Pro barrier. Well, that explains why he entered the pits and maintained that position there. Back in the GT category, it's still Mark Thomas out in front. Second place Floyd Kerr, though, closing down the advantage. Less than a second. That Lamborghini certainly closing down. Last laps for Mark Thomas, a minute 51, about a full second slower than Floyd Kerr. Not sure if Mark had an issue on track or if Kerr is just picking up the pace. Thomas has led this race from the start. Looks like Kevin Blue making a move to the inside, lapping Mark Thomas. Thomas still with the lead off the parabolica. So through that exchange we talked about with the LMP2 category, that battle, that three-way battle for the lead with James Vance, Andrew Locke, Matt Brewer. Brewer, of course, getting some contact between himself and I think it was James Vance for the lead at the time. That was through, it looked like the parabolica. Brewer, a hard impact to the barrier, ended up in the pits, now 2 laps down. We're going to stick with this GT battle, though. Things looking good here with the leaders, whether it's LMP or GT. Kerr's going to make a move, or at least took a look to the inside, trying to sniff a little bit of a slipstream off of the LMP, and the LMP gets loose. Mark Thomas makes contact. Usually it's the other way around. You don't typically see that to be the case. Usually the GT car slips and causes an issue for the faster LMP, but Thomas loses the top spot here. Floyd Kerr is going to slip into the top, but wait, no. Thomas battles back to the inside, dives it real low to the bottom, up on the curb. Mark Thomas trying all he can to get back to that Lambo. Just not enough in the tank. Something falling off there with the Mercedes as far as pace is concerned. Thomas again takes a look to the inside, getting into the chicane. Nothing doing there, but certainly better on the brakes. Getting into that first right-hander. Lambo drives out, puts a little bit of a gap between himself and the Mercedes, about car length, maybe 2. Meanwhile, back up front, still the battle continues between the LMPs. James Vance and Andrew Locke switch positions again. Andrew Locke now P1, James Vance now back to P2. Really starting to think this is just a strategy here, trying to get these guys to work back and forth, use some of that slipstream for each other, save some fuel in the process. They've got a bit of an advantage over third place Matt Soler. It's about 4.5 seconds back. Looks like Matt Brewer in the stream chat just watched the replay of myself and James. Looks like he opened up the steering when I was to the outside. The rest is history. Oh well. Had some limited angles on it for our end. Definitely contact made between the two of you guys. It's a tough break. It was a good race to watch while it happened. Again, the leaders catching some GT traffic through Ascari. Not a great place to do it. Definitely costing them some time. Opens up the door again for Vance. Vance is going to go back to the lead here. Andrew Locke slips back into the second spot. "24 minutes in. Let's try and get a move through the field here. Of course, James Vance, currently the race leader overall. It's gone back and forth between himself and Andrew Locke. Of course, Matt Brewer had some time at the front as well until, unfortunately, an incident took him out. Andrew Locke in the second spot again for now. We'll see how long that situation lasts. He's kind of stuck between Zach Millett and the lead here. Goes to the inside of the slower Mercedes. Matt Soler into the third position. Soler started P2. He slipped one spot back, but again, strategy likely at play. Kyle Surratt in the fourth position. Kyle is a big mover so far. He's up 14 positions. Started in the 18th spot. Charging his way towards the front. Sean Roberts. Don't want to say too much about Sean Roberts. He's had a real slew of bad luck in the first three races of the season. Hoping to turn things around here at Monza. Currently runs fifth. Nigel Stock was quick last week. It's up 3 positions. Started ninth. Currently running in the 6th spot. Cody Anderson runs in the 7th position. Cody's up 6 places as well. A big mover for him. Garrett Hagen started 8th. Currently running 8th. Chris Goins running in the 9th position. He's up 5 spots as well. Dave Tamira runs in the 10th position, the number 14 machine. Kevin Blue. Kevin runs in the 11th position. He started in the 11th position. Just, again, having a good, solid, clean run. Sometimes that is the way to get to the finish line, is just take her easy. Don't hurt the car. Just bring it home in one piece. A lot of times you can get a solid finish out of it by doing just that. 12th position, Tyson Pankow. Started 6th, so kind of fallen off a bit for Tyson, but he's got some time here. Over a half an hour left in the race before he can get back up towards the front, at least get near that starting position as we see the leaders Andrew Locke in the pit lane. Kyle Moyer. Kyle running 13th. He's up 4 positions. Joe Tucker 14th, up 1 spot. Back into the GT category, Mark Thomas has retaken the lead. This is likely through pit cycles. There's a lot going on here. In fact, ironically, it seems that Mark Thomas had crashed as well. Doesn't look to be too big of a blow, as the machine does not look too terribly damaged. But Zach Millett, also in a Mercedes, he's currently running in the 2nd position in GT. Brack Crouch, look at that, another Mercedes, runs in the 3rd position. Seems that this new Mercedes that iRacing has released has been awfully strong, very competitive. It seems to be the car of choice in many cases for these guys in the GT category. As you see, the top 3, all Mercedes power. Floyd Kerr in the 4th position in the Lamborghini. Again, Floyd was up in the lead there for a little bit. Looks like Floyd took an opportunity to hit the pits, so that's where he gave up that top spot, whereas Mark Thomas has not hit pit lane just yet. Chris Pyle, same story. Pyle running in the 5th position in his Ferrari. Andy Spicer, another Ferrari. He runs in the 6th spot. And Britt Osborne having a solid day. He's up 7 positions. Britt also running a Lamborghini. Britt will admit this. He's not much of a road racer, but he goes out there and turns the laps, puts the practice in, and he's just getting better and better and better. Good to see him moving forward here again, up 7 spots. 8th position, it is the BMW of Beagle. '23rd overall, 9th in GT, Bill Mofold, 1 lap down. Bill also in a Ferrari. So back out front, there it is, 2 Mercedes. It's Mark Thomas and Zach Millett. Both of these drivers are very familiar with each other. In fact, they were on the same race team, ironically, in a Mercedes for the 6 Hours of the Glen, the iRacing official 6 Hours of the Glen. Moderately successful in that race, nothing significant to speak of. We actually ran it, myself included. Mark Thomas had an incident with a slower car, or more aggressive car. I think it was on the first lap, so we punted to the next session, and then it was myself and Zach Millett alone as we see Mark Thomas hitting pit lane for the first time today. Likely first time last time, so we hit the half hour, the midpoint of the race. See if this car goes up on Jackson. He misses the pit box. That's going to cost him a little bit of track position. Is it going to be fuel only, or is he going to take tires? Typically, you can double stint, sometimes triple stint these tires, depending on your driving style, how aggressive you are with the setup. Again, we are running open setups here in the LSR Sports Car Series. No tires for Mark Thomas. So that's going to move Zach Millett to P1 here. Zach didn't get a whole lot of practice in, was having some technical difficulties with his system as far as audio is concerned. Got things squared away, but jumped in here really without a setup, so he's got to be thrilled to be leading this race, at least at this point. Does still need to make a pit stop as well if he's going to make it all the way to the end. Meanwhile, back out front, James Vance still leading, but Andrew Locke has slipped all the way to the 6th position. This is likely due to pit stops. Yeah, I do see Andrew did pit about lap 16. We're 20 laps in, so about 4 laps ago, Andrew hit pit lane. So I don't know if he took tires based on the pit time itself. I'm going to go with likely not. 24-second stop. I don't believe he took tires on that, fuel only. Typically with drivers, we see James Vance, Andrew Locke especially, they are very accustomed to going double, sometimes triple stints on a set of tires. Certainly not an issue for them to deal with. Seems to be pretty much the routine across the board. And it looks like Dave Tamir has had an incident on track. That's not good for it. Oh, hope you're watching for traffic, Dave. Close call. The 14 gets back in the running. Let's try and get a look at it, see exactly what happened to the 14. This is down the main straightaway. Incident occurring in that first chicane. And Tamir was going to the inside of the Ferrari. Looks like he got a little late on the brakes. Yeah, a little late, a little too much brake pedal. Locks up the rears and around it goes. Doesn't hit anything, which is a bonus. Let's give a call to Frank Barberi. I think he's the only Porsche in the field today. Frank currently running 10th in GT. He's 2 laps down. Still having a solid day, though. Good-looking paint scheme. It's a tough car to get a handle on. The fact that he's picked it, it's a cool car, but it really takes some talent, some practice to get really proficient at it. I do a lot of road racing myself, and I just cannot get a feel for that Porsche. Mercedes I can drive. Can't drive the Porsche. While Zach Millett still out in front of this field, has yet to make his pit stop. 34 minutes in, just over 25 to go. James Vance in the pit lane for his first stop of the day as well. So that's going to turn the lead over to Matt Sissoler. This is the overall / LMP2 category. Sissoler out in front. 25 minutes remain. Sissoler has not seen pit lane at all today, so he's going to try get an advantage here. You take advantage of the hot tires that he has versus everybody else behind him who just took a pit stop recently. Again, Vance and Roberts also in the pit lane as we see a prototype around. Whether or not they took tires, as they're stationary, they will cool off slightly, certainly not to the extent of a brand new set of Michelins. But now is the time where those guys are in pit lane that the leader needs to try, take advantage of that, push as best they can, try to turn some quick laps and get some advantage, help build a little bit of a cushion so when it comes time for them to make their pit stop, they don't lose quite as much time. We'll see if that works out for Sissoler. Best lap of the day, a 37.28. And Sissoler is in the pit lane for his first and final stop of the day. Again, can't imagine he's going to take tires here. Fuel only for Matt Sissoler. Nigel Stock also coming to pit lane. Would have inherited the top spot. Not to be as he comes down pit lane for his scheduled service. Meanwhile, James Vance, after his stop, he's going to retake the top spot. While those two drivers, Matt Sissoler and Nigel Stock, complete their pit work. So back to GT. 2 drivers left to make their stops. Zach Millett and Brack Crouch, both in Mercedes. And Zach Millett is in the pits. Little bit of damage on that Mercedes. Curious if he's going to take the opportunity to try and fix that or if he's just going to wash his hands of it. The car seemed to be okay in race pace with the damage that it had as we see the BMW taking tires. Zach Millett, however, not going to put new rubber on that Mercedes, just fuel, possibly repairs. Millett pitting from the lead. That's going to relinquish the lead to Brack Crouch, the number 22 machine. Takes over the top spot. The only driver in the field so far that has not taken the opportunity to pit is currently leading in GT. Keep an eye here on Brett Crouch, see if he takes an opportunity. A little wiggle under the braking. When that happens, it kind of gets in your head a little bit. Do I take tires on this stop? Do I really take that opportunity? You know, it'd be a relatively quick stop here if I just take fuel, but man, it's getting real difficult under braking. Should I just play with brake bias? Should I get new rubber? It's kind of things that all enter your mind. I mean, ultimately, at least in this 1 hour sprint, taking tires, not likely the best course of action. Crouch hard on the brakes, getting into the pit lane here. Hopefully did not get caught by the police. Don't get caught speeding on pit lane here. That will cost you more than any tire change. We'll see what Crouch does. In the pit box. Fuel going in. It's going to be fuel only for Brett Crouch. Floyd Kerr takes over the top spot once again. Again, we saw that battle early on between himself and Mark Thomas. Kerr back out front. He's made his pit stop at lap 14, so he's got some time on those tires. He's got a long ways to go. But Kerr, about 10 full seconds out in front of Zach Millett. Millett, however, his last stop, lap 20. We'll see if Zach can start to chew into that lead. So the top three, Floyd Kerr, Zach Millett, Brett Crouch, Mark Thomas, Chris Pio is your top five. Interestingly enough, we do have a couple of LMP2 machines mixed in with GT3 as far as their running order is concerned. You've got Justin Gledhill, Nathan Deering, Matt Brewer. Those drivers currently seem to be out of the race. Or just in pit lane, hard to say. But again, those drivers all involved in pretty significant incidents causing significant damage to their machines. It's not that they're just off the pace. They had problems early on, yielding those positions to the GT category. So we continue to watch Floyd Kerr lead this race in the Lamborghini. A little mistake through the chicane for Floyd Kerr. Keeps doing that. Zach Millett may start to bite into that lead. Millett runs P2. Back out front, James Vance still with the lead, a healthy lead over Matt Sissoler. It's almost 7 seconds. James Vance, a very experienced racing driver. In fact, comes to this iRacing league from the legitimate IMSA WeatherTech series. Runs an LMP3 machine over there. Spends his spare time over here in the LMP2 and the iRacing service. Matt Sissoler quite a ways back. Again, it's about 7.3 seconds from Vance to second place Sissoler. Andrew Locke runs in the third position. It's about 9 seconds off the lead as he goes to the inside of Zach Millett. Chris Goins in the 11th position, last car on the lead lap, still with the LMP2 category as far as the same competitive lap is concerned. And Chris Goins running 11th, started 14th, so forward progress for the 6. Kevin Blue, we haven't talked too much about Kevin today, the 54. Kevin, the league admin here with the Lonestar Racing Sports Car Series, among others involved. Jesse Redding, Chris Goins, all those guys involved in this series as far as admin duties are concerned. Kevin having a decent race. Again, car looks clean, no damage. That's the important part. Only 23 off tracks. It sounds like a lot, but it doesn't take much to get one here. You put a wheel off here, wheel off there. Over the course of 45 minutes, it's going to happen. So he catches a Ferrari quick. That can cause one, too. The Ferrari is trying to get out of the way. Ferrari's got to run that line. Got to be predictable. We've talked about that so many times. If you're driving a slower GT car, don't necessarily make brash movements to get out of the way of the faster leaders. Just be predictable. Run your line. Almost became an issue there for Kevin Blue. Everybody gets through cleanly, though, so no harm, no foul. With that, though, we're 45 minutes in, about 14 and change to go. You see Cody Anderson lose it through Ascari. Don't know if he made contact with anything, but he's back up and running. We're going to take a quick break here. Again, we're going to go side by side. You won't miss a minute of the action. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Monza, Italy, round 4 of the LSR Sports Car Series. James Vance continues to lead the LMP2 category. Down in GT3, Floyd Kerr still with the top spot in the Lambo. Zach Millett in second in the Mercedes, but 11.6 seconds in the rears. Not closing down on that Lambo here with just over 10 minutes remaining. Very similar story out front. James Vance with a healthy lead over Andrew Locke, though not as significant as it is in GT3. But through all that, we do have a battle for this position. Zach Millett, Brack Crouch, that's second and third, both Mercedes. Millett's last lap, a minute 49.52. Crouch, a minute 48.96. About 6.5 tenths quicker than Millett. Again, the slipstream certainly helps. A lot of flat out, a lot of wide open racetrack here. Back out front, James Vance with the LMP2 lead, just under 5 seconds ahead of Andrew Locke in second spot. You see Andrew coming into the frame right now. 9 minutes remain. Andrew's got a lot of work to do if he's going to catch the 10 of Vance and contend for this win. I think Andrew's got 2 wins already on the season. See Matt Soler, Kyle Surratt, Sean Roberts, the top 5. Sean Roberts, we talked about him before. Again, having a better day. It's not over till it's over, knock on wood. Again, he's had a real unlucky first 3 races of the season. He's shown some decent pace, especially at Daytona. Looked like he had that one locked up. Ran really well. But then got involved in crash after crash after crash, and it just went from bad to worse in a hurry. But so far, so good here at Monza. Sean Roberts running top 5, 5th position, right where he started. Doesn't look like there's really a scratch on that car. Through all this, though, James Vance not running away from Andrew Locke. Andrew putting the power down. In fact, just ran his fastest lap of the day. 1 minute 36.36 seconds for Andrew Locke. That was his last lap. James Vance, his last lap was a 37.51, so over a second slower, possibly due to lap traffic. We don't know exactly what caused that. Vance right now looks to be in clean air. He's got some traffic ahead. There's another LMP2. That's Cody Anderson. And maybe some GT cars beyond that. But with 7 minutes remaining, don't know if Andrew's going to be able to close down on Vance and make a challenge for the lead. We're going to keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, back to Floyd Kerr. Floyd still with the top spot in GT. Zach Millett second, 9.6 seconds back. So there's been some gains there with Millett. I don't know if that's just picking up the pace, trying to keep Brack Crouch behind him. See Kevin Blue coming back into the frame. Again, Kevin in a faster prototype, coming up on these Mercedes in a hurry as they come into Ascari. James Vance picked up the pace again. So did Andrew Locke. His fastest lap drops another time to a minute 36.31. James Vance a 37.22. It was faster, but not quite as fast as Andrew. Now the gap is 2.6 seconds back to Andrew Locke. Just over 5 minutes remain. That is the distance. You see the 10 of James Vance back to Andrew Locke in the 20. In our final 5 minutes here at Monza, James Vance with the overall lead. Andrew Locke, Matt Sissoler, Kyle Surratt, Sean Roberts, the top 5. Down into GT, Floyd Kerr also still with the lead. Second place in GT, Zach Millett, 10.7 seconds back. Don't see him reeling in this Lamborghini now unless there is a major failure with the number 68. Millett hanging out of the second spot, but that is the battle on the racetrack right now between Millett and Crouch for position number 2. Again, who knows? You know, Kerr could run into some issues out on track. He could go off, put it in the wall, damage the car, and this could quickly become the battle for the win. 4 minutes remain here. Anything could happen. That's why these guys are trying to fight as hard as they are for this second position to come up on this slower Porsche. It's Frank Barberi in the Porsche. Millett lost a little speed, goes to the inside. Crouch has to do the same. Might have a better run, though. He's right to the back bumper of Millett, off to Parabolica, goes to the inside. This is the battle for the second spot. As we cross the stripe, we've got just over 3 minutes remaining. Crouch is going to sneak by. Let's see if Millett attacks back into the chicane. He does not. Falls right in line. LMP behind. I think that's Chris Goins. It is. It is the number 6 machine. Battle continues now. Millett in the 3rd spot. Crouch up to P2. Still more. Leaders, James Vance in the LMP2 is catching this group. This is a battle for position in GT, so Vance has to tiptoe through here. Goes to the inside on Millett. He's catching him in a good spot here. Tries to stick his spot. Nope. Going to go to the inside, go around Crouch. Crouch holds his line. Cody Anderson goes to the inside, and one more. Andrew Locke trying to negotiate some traffic here as well. Does not fare as well as Vance did. Catches Crouch right in Ascari. Not a great spot. Cost Locke some time. The gap 4.6 seconds. Vance back to Locke. Two minutes remaining here from Monza. Round number 4, the LSR Sports Car Series. James Vance leading Andrew Locke by 4.1 seconds. Back in the 3rd spot, Matt Sissoler, 9.5 seconds back, with plenty of room between himself and 4th place Kyle Surratt, and then another almost 10 seconds back to Sean Roberts in 5th. Floyd Kerr still with the lead again. Another 10.4 seconds back to Brack Crouch. It was Millett before. Crouch now into the 2nd position. Millett slips to 3rd. Another 7 seconds back to Mark Thomas. That's the 4th position. And we have Cody Anderson possibly in trouble again. Cody Anderson through the chicane. This is the 2nd chicane. Trying to get back underway as traffic continues to blast on by. Andrew Locke's got that deficit down to 5.6 seconds. It was about 2 seconds a moment ago. James Vance getting caught in some more GT traffic, it looks like, getting by the GT leader of Floyd Kerr. James Vance crosses the stripe. This should be the final lap. Still 5.5 seconds back to Andrew Locke. Unless something significant happens with James Vance, this one's going to belong to the 10. And Floyd Kerr, GT leader, no pressure out back, 11 seconds. All the way back to Brett Crouch in the second spot. Zach Millett, third position. James Vance, best lap of the day, a minute 36.71. Andrew Locke, a minute 36.31. Have to go back and check at the end of this race, but it looks like Locke's going to have fastest lap of the race, but Vance is going to win this race. One more section to get through. Parabolica, James Vance down into the corner on the brakes, glides the car through the corner. And off the final turn, James Vance is going to win round number 4 from Monza. Second place will go to Andrew Locke. Floyd Kerr in the Lamborghini also exiting the Parabolica. He will see the checkered flag, and he will win at Monza in GT. Second place well earned going to Brett Crouch, with Zach Millett taking home the final podium position. With that, we're going to step aside here, get a quick break out of the way. We'll return with our class winners after this. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Monza, Italy. Round 4 of the LSR Sports Car Series is in the books. James Vance, your LMP2 winner. Floyd Kerr, your GT3 winner. We're going to talk to them both here in just a moment. In fact, we'll go down here right now and get a word with both of them. Pull James Vance up into the broadcast booth. James, it's Steve in the HBR TV broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here. Go on, man.
James cutting out just a bit, but man, congratulations here. Your first win. I think maybe your first race of the LSR Sports Car Series. Nice job. You were fast in practice and brought this thing home to a win. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, man. Let me know if I'm picking up at all. First, thank you so much for putting the thing on. Super fun and competition was for sure. But yeah, I mean, I actually haven't been simming for like the last 6 weeks, so tough and me too. But he's actually my mate on this, and so I mean, this was decent. Qualified P4. He like pulled off an app, and then I mean, yeah, first stint it was a little weird lead. I don't know what that was. Through the last corner fireball, it was super weird. Like I was all to the inside. As you out the track on the side, you know, I don't know if he just gonna go more, and like I'm too sure. Either way, and I put quite a bit to that first stint, so that was tough. It was a really good hit and helped me through, keep a little bit first stint, and yeah, we got to the pits, and yeah, I mean, exactly sailing from at epic pace, and I think it the last lap he had a little bobble and chicane, but none really thing, and yeah, definitely be back for more.
Well, James, you're breaking up pretty bad, unfortunately. We got some of it in there. I appreciate you chatting with us. Congratulations on the win, man, and good luck. I think it's Indy next week, so hopefully we'll see you there.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
Was James Vance your LMP2 winner? Let's see if we can pull Floyd Kerr up into the booth next. Floyd, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Loud and clear.
All right, Floyd, you're coming in loud and clear as well. We had a little trouble with James there. We'll get that worked out. But tell us about your race. You had a battle there with Mark Thomas for a little while, took over the top spot. I think you were the first GT to hit pit lane, but everything cycled back through. You made some good lap times, took the lead back, and never looked back. Tell us about the rest of your race.
It was definitely a little hairy in the first corner, or the first where we started, Parabolica, as there are some incidents towards the rear. But overall, it was a pretty good race. The car felt pretty nice. The setup I was using did not have full fuel, and I did not change it, so I did have to fuel save a little bit. Which that is why I pit first. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a fun battle with Mark. Yeah, definitely enjoyed it.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch from our perspective. Mark Thomas is a clean guy to race around. He's certainly a fun guy to race around, but you got the better of him today, and you put those Mercedes in the rearview mirror. That's been hard to do so far, at least since they've updated this car.
Yeah, the Mercedes have been pretty strong since they've brought that into iRacing, so competing with them on other cars has been a blast.
Well, Floyd, again, congratulations on the GT win. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
I'd like to thank you guys for the wonderful broadcasting, allowing my family to support and watch the races, as well as some of my friends as well. So thank you guys for that.
All right, Floyd. Well, thanks for the kind words, man. We're going to see you next week at Indy?
Most likely, yes.
All right. Well, good luck there as he goes for 2 wins. We'll look forward to it next week. Thanks for talking to us.
For sure. Thanks.
Was Floyd Kerr, your winner here at Monza in GT. Again, I want to apologize. We were not able to get a good, solid signal from James Vance. Would love to get a better clarity on his race, especially that incident with Matt Brewer there. I think that was through the Parabolica. It doesn't sound like there was any intent there, but ultimately they did make contact. Of course, Brewer ended up in the wall. He didn't seem like there was any hard feelings with it. They'll go get him next week at Indy, and we'll go from there. So with that, it's going to wrap it up for us here at Monza. round number 2 of the LSR Sports Car Series. Again, tune it in next week, same time, 8:30 p.m. in the East here on HBR TV. That'll be round 5 at Indianapolis. They are clicking off in a hurry. Now, keep in mind, we got a new layout, well, somewhat new layout at Indy, a new updated scan from iRacing that popped in here about a couple of weeks ago. We just ran it last night in the SCAR Radical Series. That's the SR8s, not the SR10s. Nevertheless, we won't get too deep into that, but it's a great facility. It's a great place to watch a race. It's a great place to have a race, and we're going to do just that next Monday night, 8:30 p.m. in the East here on HBR TV. If you haven't already done so, like, follow, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications, facebook.com/HBRTV, the number 1. Same thing over on the YouTube side of things. We do multi-stream. We pump it out to YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, kind of as a backup in case we have a failure on one end and not the other. You got somewhere to go. But it is the same handle, HBR TV and the number 1. So again, like, follow, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications because I know it's summertime. Everybody's busy. You might forget. This way you get chimed in every time we go live here at HBR TV. Tomorrow night, we've got the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series presented by Black Acid Custom Racing Apparel. Brand new sponsor for the series, so make sure you guys check that out. Tune in 9 p.m. in the East as well. In case you're unfamiliar with what that is, it is essentially the Camping World Trucks. We call it the Premier Series over there in SCAR. Series about 2/3 of the way through. We're going to be at Nashville Super Speedway tomorrow night, so make sure, tune in for that. Should be a good one. I'm going to be off after that. Wednesday night, you've got the Old Farts Sim Racing League, the Concrete Floors Next Gen Cup Series, typically broadcasted on HBR TV, but make sure you tune in to Pit Stop TV. Andrew is doing us a solid and helping me out here. I'm going to be at the Glen, so I can't cover it. Those guys made a move, and they switched up for me for a schedule conflict that I had, so the least I could do is get somebody who really knows what they're doing here at Pit Stop TV. They're going to broadcast that race, so tune in. I believe that is also 8:30 p.m. in the East. Double check Pit Stop TV on YouTube as well in case I got the time wrong, but tune into those guys and go ahead and give Andrew a good follow, like, share, and subscribe as well. With that, I'm going to wrap it up here from Monza. Thank you guys all for watching. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week at Indy.